Very warm welcome to you, Ron.
Hello, good
Ron,
evening.
I want to start first with a little bit of your own background. I mean, you qualified, from what we've been told, you qualified as a tool and die maker back in the 70s. How much has that sector changed looking back over the years?
Well, you've got to look at it in two ways. If you look at the sector in South Africa, I believe it's on the decrease. If you look around the world, it's very much on the increase, especially if you go out east, where they're training more and more toolmakers every year, whereas in South Africa we've been training fewer toolmakers. So Afrimold is here to try and shake up the industry, show what can be done and which direction we should be going in.
Now, if you're saying that it seems as though in other parts of the world this is something that's increasing, it's decreasing here, I would imagine that the demand is still there then. Why is it that we're seeing a decrease here?
Well, if you look at the plastics industry in South Africa, it's bigger than gold mining. If you look at the amount of tooling that has been made overseas, you have something like $1.5 billion worth of tooling made overseas every year. That should be made here. That's talking about the car industry on its own. If you look at the plastics packaging side, you have billions of rands worth of tooling made overseas every year.
Isn't that also because it might be cheaper overseas?
You only get what you pay for. So you've got to be very careful that you talk apples for apples and pears for pears. If you try and just put a rough rule of thumb on it and take just the purchase price and don't look at the entire cycle of the mold over the years, it would seem cheaper buying it from elsewhere. But you only get what you pay for in the end, and you do need to look at the total cost, not just the simple cost of the mold.
So what is happening right now in South Africa? Do you think that business people are just looking at the price now and they're not factoring in all those things that you mentioned?
Quick answer to that, yes. And Afrimold is hoping to show the quality that can be done in South Africa, and you only have the tool room down the road. You don't have them right across the world.
If we were to bring all of that tooling though here to South Africa, do we have the capacity?
At the moment, no. But if you just create one job for a toolmaker, that creates 26 jobs further down the road, which is a great way of boosting our
How does that
unemployed.
work?
Well,
You've
a
just lost
toolmaker
me.
makes a jar for a milk can. That milk can has to go into a milk plant. Everybody has to handle it, so that you get more jobs further down. You've got the designer of the milk can further upstream. So it has been well documented that one toolmaker creates 26 jobs down the road.
So when we talk about this, I mean, when we talk about the manufacturing sector, second largest sector in the country in terms of contribution to South Africa's GDP, and what you're talking about right now, very important for the country's economy. So why hasn't there been, or has there been as much discussion to have all of this happen here in South Africa, or is it the case of again, you know, that all these prices are not being factored in and we don't look as competitive?
The reason why the toolmaking industry hasn't grown, and having started my career in toolmaking here, they are very talented, well engineered, people with good engineering backgrounds, but you tend to work away in your own little workshop, and you don't look over the fence that often. And while we've been busy working away, we haven't noticed that jobs have been, or tooling has been made overseas. We haven't been able to keep up with demand, and we haven't had a strong association up until today that would try and direct people.
But also, one of the things that might be a concern as well is artisans in South Africa. How much is it valued as a trade? Because if you were to look, say, at a country like Australia, in terms of their immigration laws and the kind of people that they want there, you get such a high ranking as an artisan that you wouldn't get here in South Africa.
I was trained here, and I've probably worked in every European country helping with design and tool design. The base here has always been very good. All we need to do is have the will to grow that industry and have the infrastructure behind it to help it grow. And that's where the association the TASA, Toolmaking Association of South Africa, especially the Gauteng branch, is pushing towards improving that. And then also government is taking notice, and they've put 125 million rand towards training new people.
Would that be part of the National Tooling Initiative?
Yes, that also comes all into it. But we've started late. The industry has been in decline since the early 90s. The machine parks haven't been updated and uplifted. Management systems haven't been put in. So there's a lot to be done, and AfriMold is bringing in new technology. We are a global company. We're part of Euromold, which is a very big exhibition company aimed at just looking at application development. Every part you touch needs to go through a tooling phase. Everything you touch. From birth to death.
I was looking at AfriMold's website, and I mean, we're not talking about a person working at a workshop on their own. It seems as though you're talking about huge components here.
If you look at South Africa, there's not one tool room that works around the clock. If you go to the east or even to Germany, you've got machine shops that run 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. That's what we need to aim for. Then we can start become globally competitive. But while we treat it more as a backroom hobby, and a lot of shops are a bit like that, they don't move it into the next phase of building a bigger company run on very strict lines.
What prevents that person from doing that though? Because I would imagine that whoever is building this would want to expand, would want to grow, would want to make more money from it. The engineering is very precise. And every step has to be watched and supervised and made sure it's correct. If you don't put in the right structure and get it to the correct level, you don't grow bigger than about a 5 or 10 man team. And that's where it stays. Let's talk a little bit about that particular skill, engineering and stuff. You said that we've always had a good base, but I mean, it also seems as though we've lost a lot of our engineers. Is that the case, or is it just that we're not using them as much as we probably should be?
We're not using them as much as we should be. Most designers go overseas. You've got Lotus. Designer of Lotus in the 60s, 70s was a South African. You've got all the Formula One cars, Ferrari and McLaren, had designers from South Africa. Now we need to encourage an environment where they can thrive. We have great industrial designers here. Our show at AfriMold, we've always had industrial designers giving talks to tool makers because they need to work together. And
it's so interesting because I'll be watching business channels and I'll see somebody and then they'll say this person was South African born, and then when you hear them speak, you can hear that they're still very, very South African, and then they're in the US or they're somewhere else and they're doing amazing things, making literally billions of dollars, and we missed out on them. So just speak to how something like this, you've talked about creating that environment. What is the number one thing South Africa needs to do to create that environment that we grow these people?
I would say start training kids that leave school, get them interested in engineering. Schools around the world are notoriously bad in advising on which careers kids should go to. Toolmaking today is like playing video games. What you can envisage on the screen and model on the screen, would it be a new game, a video game, you can actually make the part and print it in your bedroom. We have machines on AfriMold where you spend 20,000 Rand and you can put it in your kid's bedroom. And whatever he models on his screen or even scans, you can scan your head and then make a bust of mother right next to his bed. That is possible. But until we bring it out of the cupboard and show everybody, we're not going to build any sort of environment. You know, they think, oh, being a factory worker is not cool. But really, you're working with computers. Whatever you envisage on a screen now can be printed immediately. And from there, you go to the tooling phase. And that just brings out the next idea and the next product.
Okay, Ron, thank you so much for joining us. I hope
Been a
people
pleasure.
will Google AfriMold and come to the exhibition and see all these things. I went to your website.
Your
It's
eyes
very
will be out on
interesting.
stalks.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.